Hi, everybody.
Howdy, Tex.
Howdy, Tex. We got our friends on today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Janine.
Heather.
We're here with MotoWomen 24/7, and we have the wonderful Dawn Williams here with us today, who has, well, we're going to hear her story, but so many years of writing and loving and living in the motorcycle life. And we hope you enjoy this section with her.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start by saying we are at the Zebra House in St. Paul, Minnesota. Thanks to beautiful Anne-Marie for letting us commandeer her incredible space for this interview. So thank you very much.
If you get a chance to come here, this place is phenomenal. Every room has something different. There's photos and pictures, and like you see this cool chair. She's got her lovely outfit on. Heather and I, again, borrowed some stuff so we could feel a part of the experience. So it was at the Zebra_house on Instagram.
Yep. So make sure you check it out if you're looking for a photo shoot or a place to host a party.
Yeah.
You can do it here. It's absolutely
lots of parties we've had here.
Absolutely worth it.
So part of what brought us here to St. Paul, Minnesota is an event called the Donnie Smith Show, which is an indoor motorcycle event. It's famous. People come here from all over the place.
36 years?
35.
Is it 35 this year?
I honestly don't know the number, but it's in the 30s. It is in the 30s.
Yes. We're going to stick it's the same age as we are. It's in its mid-30s.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So we traveled up here. My husband and I brought a few bikes. Heather's here with Cycle Source magazine, and of course with MotoWomen 24/7, and we're all going to work. And of course you're here because you are the half, if not the whole, of how this thing gets put together. So
just Winter Nationals.
Just Winter Nationals.
Just Winter Nationals, not the show. No show responsibility for me. Right. I attend and I love it.
That's it. That's great.
Yep. Sell a few pieces of art and that's it.
Absolutely. But you've been Donnie's partner, and everybody, and not to overshadow you, but everybody knows Donnie Smith in the motorcycle world. You've been his partner, and I will say his better half for 26 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But you've been in motorcycling long before that.
Long
before that. You've pretty much always ridden motorcycles.
Yeah, I actually started riding in the 70s.
Take us back, there, girl. Take us back.
Take you back to the 70s.
And we don't have to do LSD, I promise.
Damn it.
Yeah, really. It was a very different world in the 70s for a woman to ride a motorcycle. But I started because I loved motorcycles. I loved the sound, and I loved the ride. I've got maybe one ride and had the best time of my life. And I thought, well, I am not going to wait for a guy to ask me on a date so I can go for a frickin' ride.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, I hung out with some pretty crazy people, unlike you guys.
We know nothing.
Right. But I've hung out with some pretty crazy people, and I really didn't want to be on the back of their motorcycles. And that's why I started riding. And a number of my girlfriends started riding at the same time too. And which made it really fun.
Yeah, that's great.
That was very fun. And they all had husbands, boyfriends that rode, and we would just go as a group everywhere. Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely great. And we're all pretty good riders. And I tell you,
how did you learn to ride in the 70s? I can't imagine there was a motorcycle.
No course you're going to take.
I did.
No, there was no course.
No course. As a woman, they're probably like.
Oh yeah, exactly. There were no motorcycle courses that I could find, at least in our area then. So how I started was on a Honda 450, and it was a street bike. And at the time, I was a caretaker in a Girl Scout camp, 180 acres of forest. Wow. And every day, every moment that I could grab, I would ride through the trails, jumping logs, landing in sand. Sliding in sand and that kind of thing. And what I didn't know at the time and what I experienced later is, the road hazards. I look at them like, whatever, because I learned on a street bike, in a Girl Scout camp, on sand.
And you took the
in the
obstacles
woods.
as an opportunity to just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know motorcycling in general in the 70s, the universe was not kind to motorcyclists. They had a stigma attached to them. Even into the 90s, I can recall Chris telling me stories, he's been riding all his life too. Early 90s, he would pull up to a hotel motel and they would shut the lights off because they didn't want a biker there.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you as a biker and a woman in the 70s? That had to present some challenges.
It did. And I tell you what I did. I lived two separate lives, completely separate lives. For one, and I learned how to do that early on. My father was a politician. He was a sheriff of St. Paul, a county that included St. Paul. And he would say, go ride your bike, go party in another county. And so I tried to go do it someplace else. So that I did that.
Okay.
And I also had to keep it away from my professional life, which I am a psychologist. I was a licensed psychologist for many years. I'm retired now. But I had to keep that very separate from anything. No one knew that I rode a motorcycle.
So you weren't riding your bike to your office?
No. Well, I did.
You parked it around the corner, right?
Cover it.
I did. It was like way in the back.
Right?
Yeah. I did just a little bit. And then it became more difficult to ride my bike to work, and mostly because I had to wear a suit.
Right. That's a little hard to take this very serious profession.
Yes.
And show up in biker pants and a tank top, and sometimes they aren't. It's hard enough being taken seriously as a female,
right?
As a female professional,
right?
I totally see how hard that would have been. I can't imagine. Obviously, you were very well versed in that to be able to separate those things and make each one of them work for your life.
Yeah. And I did, and I was pretty successful at that. I mean,
I have to imagine though there had to be some resentment in it, like that you had to keep things so separate.
That, or it was rewarding because you actually had, like, this is my professional life and this is my fun life.
Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah. Well, the world that mattered, I didn't keep it a secret from.
Right.
Okay. So the only secret it was from was my professional life.
Right.
And my biker friends, my family, it was not a secret. It was not a secret that I was a psychologist, although I never really talked about it that much. There was a little bit of, oh, are you going to analyze us? And I'm like, not if you freaking don't pay me.
And I'm going to charge you triple. So
that's right. No, it's like, no. It's like,
an hour,
oh my God. It's like,
family discount.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. It's like, it would be way too much work anyway, but I didn't. So to answer your question, it didn't cost me anything.
Okay.
And it was fine. What I did resent is just having to do it for our society in general.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that leads me to you seeing that whole scene change as far as society being accepting of motorcyclists and women riders. So I have to imagine that today you could pull up to your psychologist's office on a motorcycle and it would be complete, like nobody would think anything different. At least in my mind.
Right.
Yeah. I would really hope that was true, but I still don't think it's gone.
No,
it's still there, and it's still there in a big way. But that's just my experience of it. I still wouldn't do that, and I have to apologize. We should have done a better job for your generation. We didn't. I didn't.
I don't think there's any apology needed. I think if anything else, your generation has given us, and we're not that far apart, really, but has given us the opportunity to do that because you started it. And now we're trying to pass the torch on to this next generation of women that even if they don't want to ride, if they just want to two up, or they have people in their lives, whether it be a wife, a husband, or whatever, that are riders, just to understand the culture, what it's about for the people that do ride and the people that are in it.
Oh, there's nothing better than the culture.
I agree.
Nothing better. And if you can deal with the society, whatever, because we're going to get this as women for a very long time to come.
Agreed. Well, we've only had the right to vote for
Yeah.
how long?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been very long.
Couple years.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
All right, so when you go back, if you can dig back into your memory banks to like an early memory of your motorcycling, what's the most poignant memory for you? Like, was there a specific trip? Did you go to Daytona, Sturgis? Like, how far did you go on your motorcycle in your earlier days?
Well, I rode out to Sturgis on my motorcycle, and I stayed in City Park. If anyone knows City
That's
Park,
amazing.
yes,
You know about City Park.
I don't. I want to hear.
She's fairly new. She's not new to motorcycling, but I think doesn't have as much
definitely.
exposure
No, I've only, like
to
I
the
said,
stories and stuff that we do, and I only have it because of the magazine. But tell her about City
I
Park.
wanna hear about
Okay,
City Park.
City Park was party city. Anything goes in City Park. There was a lot of nudity, a lot of just a lot of
Debauchery.
yes, yeah,
Debauchery going on.
debauchery, yes, a lot of that.
Do you know where City Park in Sturgis is?
Yes,
When
I
you're
do.
going
I
down,
do know.
It's all
Yeah.
soccer fields now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was all tents. Everybody stayed there. There was like one shower, one bathroom. It was
And there was
something.
no buffalo chip. There was no iron,
none
there
of
was
that.
nothing, there was
Everything
nothing.
happened at the park.
That was
But
the
Sturgis,
rally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the rally, and there were not that many people, really. Enough. I mean, really enough,
Mhm.
but nothing like it is today at all.
What was
But-
your first year going to Sturgis?
77.
Wow.
77.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you go by yourself or did you go
No,
with a group?
no. I went with a group of people.
And it was like, I want to know, like, I wish I could like play the reel that's in your
Yes.
head. for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, you'd have to drive in on one side, and they had all these, guys, with signs, show your tits, show your tits, show your tits, to all these women riding in on the back of their bikes. And the memory that comes to mind for me in that is like, I'm riding my own bike in there, and they said, show your tits. And I looked at them and I said, I show my tits, I drop my bike, and you are paying for any damages. And he goes, go ahead. Go on.
I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, how were the men motorcyclists? How did they treat you? Did they treat you differently? Was it hard?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And
Or were they like, that's amazing. Like, there's this rad chick on a shovel head, right?
yeah.
So they were more impressed by it than,
they were fine. They were absolutely fine with it. And, I was a little spoiled because I hung out with Donnie then too.
oh,
back
so you've
then.
known Donnie
Yeah.
since you started
Yeah,
riding,
Donnie
pretty
and his
much.
brother Happy. I met Happy when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Donnie when I was 19 or 20.
So all right.
So
I
I've
didn't
known
know
them,
that.
and I rode with them. And
that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And they're very accepting of females. And I tell you why Donnie is. And I didn't get this until I got to know him. But Donnie's grandmother went to South Dakota, and she homesteaded her own land, went out there alone with a wagon, built a house.
Wow.
On her own by herself. And so Donnie's view of women is like,
They're all strong,
they can do
independent,
anything.
powerful.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen
It was
it.
just-
That's my heritage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a given for him. And so that's the group I was with. So I was incredibly fortunate.
Yeah, so they expected you to take care of your own shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I mean?
did. They did.
That's awesome. Now, did they teach you like how to wrench on your bike? Did you do your own maintenance?
I took classes on that, but I never liked to do that because I'm still a woman that does not like to break a
You
nail.
know,
I still do not
Fair.
like to break a nail.
yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
you.
If you can pay for somebody to do that and they love to do that, then why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's the biggest thing that you've seen change for women in motorcycling over the past 5 decades?
That they're a little bit better organized now,
Okay.
and they're doing more things as a female unit. I'm seeing a lot of different rallies and that kind of thing. One thing that, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but I see a lot of bike shows with women categories. And I'm not so sure what I think about that.
We kind
I
of
wanna
think we're
bring
on the same
my-
page there.
I think we might have a difference of opinion on that.
Because I want to hear the other side of it.
So for me, I don't believe in that.
Okay.
Because as a woman in this industry, I don't want to be known as a female publisher or a female editor or a female venue manager. I'm just a publisher and editor, period, a promoter. It has nothing to do with the equipment I was born with, period.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that you should get a special trophy just because you have a vagina.
Gender specific.
Right.
Exactly.
And I know that pisses a lot of people off. A lot of people I know a lot of women that pisses off. But for me, special treatment is not equal treatment.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And again, that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think there's a place for all of it. The way I look at it is, if you've got women who may or may be on the fence about something, and you bring to light that they can do it, or you've shown, let's say you have a 8-year-old daughter, 9-year-old daughter, and she goes to a show and she sees this woman get up on stage who's built her own motorcycle.
Right.
It shows her that that's possible, not only because she's a girl, but because it's available. Now, I agree with you on the segregation of the sexes with the rides and all that bullshit. I think it's stupid. I think you should ride according to your skill level, not your sex.
Which you may be a better rider than the guy.
Half the guys.
And if that's the case, he needs to ride in the back.
Absolutely. And if you have a woman's ride or a woman's rally that is trying to promote motorcycling to that group, don't be exclusionary to their partners or whatever. Right. The more the fucking merrier. If you've got Sally Joe and she's really interested in going to I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm not trying to call them out, but it's like a Babes Ride Out event. But she really only travels with her husband and they motorcycle together. She's probably less likely to go to your BRO event if men are excluded. And I'm not saying they have to be part of it or even that, but it should not be. For me, I don't think it should be exclusive. I think it's stupid. If my husband was going to a male-only motorcycle ride, I'd be like, that's weird. That's not right. What are you guys going to do the whole time?
Right.
Like, that's stupid.
Right.
We as a culture, we always support our men. Like, we are their biggest cheerleaders. We help them plan winter nationals and, Smoky Mountain Bike Week and
all the things.
They should be able to do that in return if we want to have a female event. So I think that kind of tips the scales a little bit, and I don't understand that. They should be able to support us the same way we support them. So the exclusionary events for me,
I find it a little bit weird. And it's the same thing though, as like you said, as a bike show or being recognized for your profession. Yep. You're absolutely right. My vagina has nothing to do with my ability to either do my job or not do my job. So making it a big deal that that's a woman other than this person.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's why if a bike show is run properly, we judge blindly. You judge by the number on the bike. You don't know whose bike it is. Right. You don't know who wrote it in. You don't know. You're basing your assessment on the motorcycle and the number that's on it. We don't walk around with the registration sheets and like, oh, that's John Williams' bike. You have to give her a trophy.
Right.
No, and I'm going to go off on it. But for me, that goes back to social media. If something's shit, it's shit, regardless of who built it.
Agreed.
Right.
And stop lifting, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, or be honest. Find a way to give good, positive,
is it helpful?
Criticism.
Is it going to be helpful?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. Yeah, Dawn, it's great that you ride. I love it. Your bike's not my cup of tea, but I love that you ride it and you own it.
You find some common ground and move from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we got to go back to it's early 70s. You're hanging out with Donnie and I'm sorry, what's his brother's name?
Happy.
That's a great name. Happy and Donnie. And you're in this I'm going to call it crazy kind of underworld, really an underground world that not a lot of people are exposed to. You're writing and you're doing these things. At what point do you see like the change in the motorcycle culture from the 70s to now? Like, when do you really feel like that got more accepting? Now, you said you were already accepted, but
Mhm.
going places by
Mhm.
yourself was probably a very different experience versus riding with your group of friends that included men.
Mhm.
So when did you feel like a shift in that culture?
A shift. Well, there was a huge shift in the culture, and motorcycles became more accepting. And I hate to say it, but Orange County choppers and I mean
And
those
the biker build
The TV shows that they
yes,
did,
the
yeah.
TV shows.
Well, Donnie was
You
part of that,
know,
right?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
a
Donnie,
little bit.
Dave Perowitz,
Yep.
a lot of the guys in the Hampshire group, they did
Yep.
a lot of build-offs.
They did, and they certainly have been on been on different shows and whatnot. But I think Orange County Choppers, and it actually was Jesse James that started it.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys really did a lot to bring the motorcycle groups, into the limelight and into more acceptance. They did a
I
lot
love
to
that
do that.
I love that you actually could feel that shift through
Yes.
that era. Like that was a very poignant moment.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
then they made a motorcycle soap opera, which was great. Sons
I
of Anarchy.
love that
It was a
show.
great show.
Is it
I
terrible
loved it.
that I've been in this for as long as I have and I've never seen 30 seconds of
Oh
Sons
my
of
goodness,
Anarchy?
we're gonna have to change that.
Well, the minute they
never
killed
We're gonna change
Opie off,
that.
I was a little
Yeah,
mad.
yeah.
But that also brought that. Now, a lot of it was bullshit because it was a drama and,
Mhm.
and designed to
Yeah.
like really drive that. But, made people more aware of motorcyclists.
And it did, and I'll tell you where I felt the shift was in a corporate boardroom.
Really?
Yeah, I had, I was sitting there, and a couple of people knew that, and I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but I knew it was a shift when someone said, they were talking about, well, we have to plan this event and do this or that, and someone said, well, Don, you're a biker. You guys are experienced with parties and events. Would you
Well, that's
would you like to chair this? And I'm like, what? It's like,
wait a minute, what does
what-
one have to do with the other?
well, it didn't. But what it said to me that there was very much a shift.
Mhm.
It was a shift that
Because it
was
was a
really going to be
positive
okay.
thing.
It was
Yeah.
positive.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa.
It's interesting, and I think of, and I'm terrible with dates and times, so I don't know when the biker build-offs and Jesse James and Shoppers Inc. all came about.
In 90s-ish.
Because honestly,
but,
I didn't honestly pay attention to it.
We weren't
It
in that
It
world
wasn't
at the
part of
time.
my world at the time.
Exactly.
But for me, it's almost like tattoos becoming acceptable.
Oh.
If you really look at the shift in timeline, I remember not very long ago, doctors, lawyers, policemen could not have tattoos below their shirt sleeve.
Even just as short as I got my nursing license in 2012. In the nursing culture, zero tolerance for any type of tattoos. You had to either wear makeup over them or cover them with clothing.
Well, and where I was, in the world I was in, I noticed that after 9/11, they didn't give a shit about tattoos. And no matter where you were, you saw police officers with full sleeve, firemen, doctors at the hospital I worked
Memorial,
at had full sleeves. They didn't, and it was just like, okay, like
we have bigger things to
We
fucking
have
worry
bigger
about
things to
other than
worry
you
about.
having a tattoo.
that
Right.
other than you having a tattoo.
Yeah.
So, for me, I saw that shift with that, and I love that you could see the shift in acceptance
Yeah.
with motorcycling.
Mhm.
I think you're right. It changed a lot of people's attitudes. Like, oh,
Mhm.
they aren't all a bunch of thugs,
Right?
Mhm.
Or derelicts or whatever.
Derelicts.
Yeah,
I mean, some of
absolutely.
them are, but that's it.
Well,
I
and
think
it
that's
depends on the day for
doctors,
me.
lawyers,
Just kidding.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
And I remember somebody trying to do some kind of a show, and they asked us, well, do you ladies like work in the shops or whatever? What do you guys do? And it so happened I was standing next to Andrea. I'm like, yeah, I'm a pilot, and there was another lady standing next to us. I'm a lawyer.
I love it.
I'm a psychologist.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was a group of women, and the guy just, well, I'm going to come back and talk to you ladies about this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he never came back. He never
Probably-
came,
he was
never
probably
came
intimidated.
He's
back.
like, wow, I was way out of my league.
Right.
Well, but what was he thinking still then?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like-
interesting.
Yeah.
So part of what we're doing this MotoWomen 24/7 thing again is to encourage women who have an interest in riding to ride. And one of the things we posted up a couple days ago was, hey, anyone who wants to learn how to ride, post a question, and anyone who actually rides, please answer. What advice do you have to the young woman, and even Heather,
older
woman? It could be a woman in her 60s who's maybe had an inkling to want to do it. Well, give us some words of wisdom from someone who really loves everything about motorcycling. How do they get started, and what's the process?
Well, you have to have a bike where you can touch the ground, and make sure it's not. Don't start too large, and never start with the dream bike. Never start with your dream bike, because you might tip it over a couple of times.
Oh, you're gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna drop it.
You're gonna. And you don't start there, and start riding with your group with that bike. It's going to take you a very short time to move on to your dream bike. It really is. But if you start with a big bike, your bike rides you. You don't ride your bike, and you never learn how to ride your bike. And the other thing is, if you're going to start, you really need to want to do this. Yeah. And I'll tell you a little story about my boss. I had a boss, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start riding motorcycles with my husband." And I knew her, and I'm like, I know you. You are great. You are great at everything out of the gate. And this is going to be a new experience for you. And I also said, "Do you play golf?" Because golf. and no. And so I was like, okay, so I had nothing to compare this to. I said, you are not going to be good at this right away, because it takes time. Time is what it takes. You can read all the books you want. You can take all the classes you want, but it's time on the road. And if you're not going to give that, if you don't have the patience for attaining a skill after that, then you're not going to make it.
You need a bunch of AIS time, seat time.
Yeah, and she didn't.
Oh. Now, and do you think she was riding more because her husband wanted her to ride?
Yeah, I do. I think it was because of that, and it was very popular at the time. There were a lot of people into motorcycling when it was popular, in the 90s at that time.
I think probably one of the best pieces of advice is make sure it's something that you want to do for you. Because if it's not truly something that you want for you, you're just never going to be comfortable.
Well, because it's skill.
It's too hard.
Yep. And I'll be honest, so I am taking my I turned 50 this year. I'm taking my motorcycle safety class this year. But I know for me mentally, I'm going to start on 3 wheels because I need to master that and be comfortable on that. And then maybe, hopefully, I'll gain the confidence to move to 2. Because it's something that I've always wanted to do. And whether it's right or wrong for me, that mental security of 3 wheels it's what I need to do. And I think as long as you're comfortable with your own decision, it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks.
And you're always going to have a level of fear.
Yeah. Oh,
and I hope that never goes away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's always that, and to me, it makes it kind of exciting too.
Well, right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Even and it's not necessarily your skills, because I'm sure after all your years on 2 wheels, you are an exceptionally skilled rider. But it's the other riders on the other road. It's the people in the cars.
It's the cars.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's nothing scarier for me than taking those turns down Spearfish Canyon when people just come over in my lane. Oh yeah,
oblivious. It's almost it's crazy, but you're invisible to them. You're on this loud ass machine. You're moving at a pretty fast clip, and for some reason you are part of the wallpaper. You're not something that they're really paying attention to.
Well, they never pay attention to you, and that's the thing too, is I know when I'm on the road, there is nobody sees me. Nobody is going to watch out for me. And I know that. And I think that has made me a better rider, to think that like somebody's going to be watching.
You're accountable for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also think no one can see me. no one's going to see me at all. You know, every once in a while, if I know they really can't see me, I'll rev, you know, because I had
crack your pipe so they can hear you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I could do that.
It was that loud pipe.
Loud pipe save lives.
Yeah, and they do, because I never had a horn on a bike. You know, I've never had things like that. And
Have you
as
pretty much always had a custom motorcycle?
yeah, and except now, I have a lowrider.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, I gave up the custom because I'm getting a lot older, and it's a little bit more physically challenging for me, and I really wanted to have a gas gauge, was like the biggest thing, and because I never even had an odometer. And so
no directionals, no odometer, no gas gauge.
No, I had nothing like that. And I thought, well, you know, I had to use the force to know if I was running out of gas.
Right.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So I get this lowrider, and it's like, oh, how do you turn it on? I didn't know.
Oh, there's a button. Right?
I know. I didn't know how to turn that on.
You don't have to mess
the flashers start going, and it's like, how do you shut those off? And what are they for?
Right. Exactly.
No, I really don't know I didn't know anything about the lowrider, and there's still a lot of things I don't know about it, which, you know, it's kind of nice.
Do you still use your hand signals versus signals?
I know, and I know I don't have to, but it's like, oh yeah.
I tend to use both anyway, because I feel like sometimes the lights. I know on my Indian Challenger they're fairly big, but most of the bikes my husband builds have very small taillights. Yeah. He's got a signal on. Nobody knows what the fuck you're doing.
Or like this big.
Yeah, I can't. First of all, I can't see that on a normal day. Then give me, I'm 200 yards behind you, and there's a car behind me. Fuck that. Yeah. Hand signals are great, or a pointing. You know, I'm pointing to the car. I'm getting over. So don't.
I'm so used to hand signals at this point. When Chris and I are in the van, he's usually on the phone, and I'm navigating. I use hand signals in the truck
to tell him
which way to turn.
Well, that's pretty smart.
Yes. At least he gets that.
It's the only way sometimes, because he's on the phone a lot when we drive, and I'm like, okay, I got it.
If you all hear dancing on the ceiling, we are having, and this is Dawn's great idea, to have people come check this house out. Again, we're here for Winter Nationals. It gives us something to do. It's snowing outside. So there is a party going on upstairs. So
the bikes were set up yesterday, so people can actually come to this party today.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to take our bikes yesterday. It was great.
I have a question. Do you ride with or without a helmet? Or is it mixed depending on where you're riding?
No, it's not even mixed anymore. I wear a helmet. And Minnesota's been a state for a very long time that hasn't had a helmet law, and I have never worn a helmet before. But I want to save the hair.
Right?
Save the hair.
It's style versus safety. Yes. I love it. Okay. Fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Nothing wrong with that. I always say style over sensibility.
I got this little Coach helmet that I wear, and it's like save the hair.
Saves your hair.
I think we should always have a choice. That's just always been my opinion. And I find that if we're just on back roads or 2-lane roads, I typically do not wear a helmet. If we're on the highway, and this is me riding as a passenger. If we're highway riding or long distance, I will always wear a helmet.
Well, I'm just a fucking klutz, so the helmet goes on every time.
Right. And I do know that when I am fortunate enough to have the skills to ride on my own, I will wear a helmet. At least, just because I know I am going to drop it eventually, Well, I guess I can't drop 3 wheels, can I?
No, but eventually
I can crash.
You might figure out a way. You might figure out a way and be the first.
Right.
You can whiskey bottle that,
right? Yeah, with my luck, I'll go up and over backwards. But.
Yeah.
So you're on a lowrider right now.
Yep.
And if you had to choose your favorite bike out of all the bikes you've had, what do you think you had the most fun on?
FXR.
Right?
Oh,
I knew you were going to say that.
The FXR. Yeah, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this one. This is Anne Marie's.
Oh, yeah. That was beautiful.
That one's beautiful.
Yeah. Did Donnie build that bike?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of thought he did.
Do you know what your FXR that one is?
Mm-mm.
I'll have to ask.
Yeah.
So do you have one bike in your history that you wish you hadn't let go? Because I'm sure Donnie built most of your bikes.
The FXR.
The FXR, that was the one you wish you had never let go.
Yeah. And
no,
and
Kelly, is that the one Kelly has?
no, it's a different FXR.
Okay.
Oh, Kelly's got. You've seen Kelly's.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
beautiful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So you wish that was the one you never let wish you had kept.
Which one?
Your FXR.
Yeah.
Wish you had kept that one.
And it was silver and blue one, and Kelly has the orange one, orange flame one.
No, was that the bike you let go to buy the lowrider?
No.
Okay.
No,
good.
I let go. Well, I had an orange bike and a Donnie Smith bike, and it was it was a ground up custom.
Mhm.
So it had a frame that he designed, and I had that, and he built that, and it was licensed out of 2000.
Okay.
So, and I had it pretty much since then, and I've always kind of had that, and I let it go last year.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was a hard one to let go of. I mean, it was really, because I would, switch off all the time.
Well, and you so many memories on that bike, so many miles that you've put on that, and you have, it becomes an emotional attachment for sure.
Yeah.
Especially for me, how much of a mental, I call it therapy, I have on my bike. That's a definite connection to my bike.
Yeah. But, I just suddenly needed to have a gas gauge. What can I say?
No, I understand that. All right. So one memory that stands out the most for you, like, do you have one significant memory in your years motorcycling? Like, everybody has that. Oh, like this one time I had this great story, this great experience. Or
Oh, okay. In case, well, I'm sure that they're not looking for them anymore, but.
Oh, it's gonna be juicy.
This is good.
So it was like my first, when Donnie and I first started dating, actually, and it was our first trip together. We went to Daytona.
Okay.
And I had rented a car, and Donnie had already had bikes shipped down there, and so there were bikes down there. And one of the events we had to go to was at this great big hotel down there, and it was this auditorium, and he had to display his bikes down there. Him and David, and I think it was Kenny Price and Eric Herman and maybe some others. Well, they had locked the doors of this auditorium where they had loaded and unloaded, so they couldn't get the bikes out.
Oh, wow.
And these guys got on these bikes and started them up in the auditorium and started going down the halls of the hotel by the pool. I mean, just going and out the door. And, the hotel manager comes chasing me. He goes, who are these guys? And I know that you're with them. I said, I've never met them. I've never met these guys in my life. No, I don't know them. I think you're mistaken. I mean, I don't know these guys.
I'm here for a conference. I don't know.
Right.
Right. That's awesome.
Right. And it's like, that one sticks out in my mind the most, because it's like, whoa, I guess I'm in for a ride.
That's awesome. I love it.
And if you're watching this podcast, whatever we want to call it, and you don't know any of these people we're talking about, Google them.
Yes.
All these,
if you're in motorcycling and you don't know Donnie Smith and Dave Harowitz and Eric Herman and Kenny Price, come out from under your rock, Google them, because they are why a lot of us are. They are why custom motorcycling is alive and strong. Like, they blazed a path for so many builders. And the fact that they're still doing it, because they're not spring chickens anymore.
No, they're not. Not.
But they still do this, and
they love it.
And they will all have a conversation. They want to talk about their craft and their history.
You see these guys get together. Yep. So we all know each other through a motorcycle group of men that
I call them philanthropic motorcycle.
Right. The Hamsters USA, which is a custom motorcycle. It's not a club. It's not a group. It's just it's a collective of men that either build, own, or love custom motorcycles. So that's how the three of us got an opportunity to get to know each other. And
you know what? I'll add one more thing about times now as compared to what they were years ago. Okay, so with those, I mean, Donnie, Arlen, Dave, they traveled together all the time. They were at every event together all the time. We did so many things with those guys, and there was never competition between them ever.
Right.
They were the best of friends, and they were nothing but support.
And they raised each other up.
Oh, they
And that's
totally
what I
did,
think-
and that's I'm not seeing that so much anymore, and I think that's so sad.
I love that you mentioned that. I really do, because that's a conversation that I've had recently with my own husband. Is like, these people like Donnie and Dave, they want to see you succeed, because the only way that what they built is going to continue.
Yeah,
You have to raise each other up.
Absolutely. And
these guys wouldn't even put bikes against each other in shows.
yeah,
Amen. I love
No,
that.
they wouldn't do it. Supported each other 100%. And I remember Donnie telling a story about, a bunch of those guys flying out to Arlen's house to help him finish a bike. Yeah.
And that's how it, for me,
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
Mhm.
Like, and I hate to sound cliche, but that old adage, it takes a village.
it does.
It
Mhm.
really does. It takes a village. And motorcycling is never going to go away.
No.
I hope custom motorcycling never goes away. But the only way it's going to continue is for people to share, like, hey, this is how I did this.
Mhm.
It may not be the right way, but it worked for me.
Mhm.
And share their stories and their how-tos and their ideas.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since anybody invented something
Right.
completely new,
Right.
in motorcycling.
Yeah.
Like, all due respect, I love Indian Larry motorcycles. Indian Larry was not the first person to ever twist metal. That started hundreds of years ago.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So the fact that other people are doing that and adding it into their craft, I love that.
Mhm.
And that's one thing you can't get mad when somebody, like, oh, I like your mid controls. Did you make those?
Right.
Can you give me some pointers?
Mhm.
Or I like your mid controls. Where can I buy a set?
Right.
Right.
Support the industry.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like that you pointed out that it's not, the community is lacking a little bit in the
And the support. Yeah. And from a psychological, perspective too, I think it's harder for women to support each other. Women have, and this is biological. They are programmed to compete against each other and not support. And so supporting another woman will feel against your grain. And I think it's harder for us as women to do that.
Think so, yeah.
And that's why we haven't gotten it together as much as, we can.
It's still what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine.
Right.
Right.
Or yeah. I just, they just compete. They
Yeah.
compete instead of,
Collaborate.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I know, like,
I just don't like that in general. in
and
any
I know
aspect
we
of life.
all, no matter how hard we try, we can be catty bitches. Like
Right.
you said, that's just who we are.
Right. It's what you have to fight.
as a species. Yeah.
Yes.
But
I can get really Freudian and tell you why, but
So let's talk about that. This very creative side of you that probably stems from your years of dealing with people
we
and
had
their
a great
demons and
conversation
things like
about
this.
this last week. So for those of you who don't know, Dawn is also an incredible artist, and you can find
thank
her
you.
work. You are, and I
Thanks.
love it because you can see every person sees something different. in your art.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it's all left to interpretation. And I find it interesting when there's like one or two people will see the same thing,
Mhm.
because that's not always the case. But Abby Art Fire Studios is where you can find her work.
Mhm.
Instagram, Facebook. Are you available on Etsy or anything like that?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. And I don't know that I ever will be. I mean, I'm retired.
So what is the art? The art, how does that feel a part of your life now that you're retired? Is that kind of just something that clears your mind, or
It's something I can be a little OCD at times, and so
Okay.
it's something that I do almost every day, and I love it. I just love doing it, and what else can I say about that I love doing it? I have a passion for it. And
I think it's interesting that you say you're OCD, because the way you create your art, you almost don't have as much control.
I have no
you
control.
Have no control,
which makes it exciting for me.
Which, like, that's why I find it interesting that you say you're OCD, yet the art you create, you have zero control.
No.
So how do you create?
It's inks. I do fluid art, and they're inks, and I even had an artist a famous artist who say, I don't know how she does that. Most people can't do that with them, with that, with those inks. And I thought, well, that's a very nice thing to say, actually.
Well, and if this goes too far, we can edit it out. But we had a conversation last year about, because of your years as a psychologist, part of your process is almost getting the demons of everybody you treated over there those years out.
Yes.
So you'll get that out. And,
I will.
And that demon goes onto that page,
and you can even see them.
You can. It's amazing.
And you can see them, and that's incredibly. It has been incredibly scary for me to see some of them, and at the times that I've seen them, my studio used to be out in the garage. Donnie gave me like this room that it was like a corner where I would put my stuff. Anybody that came over had to sit on the tractor because that was the only spot. Yeah, Mary sat on the tractor. Mary over here. Yep, you sit on the tractor and talk to me while I do my art. But I would do that and listen to music till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Now, folks, when she says music,
it's
look
not
at
like
her
Zen
and her demure
music. Not
at all. What kind of music are you listening to?
Heavy metal.
Yeah.
Like heavy metal.
That's great. Yeah, it's heavy metal in the middle of the night, and it's outside because I have all of the tractor doors, the garage doors all wide open, and I'm painting, and I will get like these faces in my art, and sometimes I cannot erase them. Mm-hmm. And usually I can erase them by or mix them up by just pouring like 99% isopropyl alcohol on them, and then they do other things. But these would not go away, these faces, and I have eyes that will pierce. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do that.
Do you find that when you recognize that, and that you recognize it's one of the demons of somebody, do you find that it's a release for you and you let that go?
It is. Because in my profession, you have to keep many secrets forever. Forever. You can tell nobody. You can't even hint at telling anybody.
Right.
And you keep a lot of it, and a lot of it, and as a professional, you learn how to not let it impact you. Yeah, absolutely, but not completely.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
When those things show up to you, are you actively thinking about something, or when you see that, it brings you back to some moment, and that's where you see that reflection?
I'm not thinking about anything.
Okay.
But when I see it, it's in your face.
It's a poignant moment.
It is recognizable in your face. And if I try not to think about it, it comes back. It's in your face. It doesn't let go. It doesn't let go. And it's amazing how many times that happened early on when I was starting out, because I have some incredibly dark paintings. I mean, I've seen a lot. And I spent a lot of years. My specialty was sexual abuse, kids, trauma, and cults and things like that. So I've seen
there's a lot of demons that you've been carrying.
I carry other people's demons. Yes.
So I think it's incredible that you have found a way to release those.
Yes.
To heal yourself at the same time, because you've healed them.
Yeah.
And now that you're healing yourself,
whether
it's something that was cognizant or whatever, but that's got to be weigh heavily on you, because that's kudos to you for being that kind of psychologist, because I can't even imagine how heavy that was for you at times.
It got to be. It could be. Yeah.
I know that you are a very strong, independent woman, but to have that on top of all that,
Well, I can imagine that
Amazing.
motorcycling probably was a bit of your therapy
Oh,
at that time, to be
absolutely.
able to just let go. And again,
Absolutely.
like you said, you have to really think about what you're doing on this beast. You're not
Yes.
just, your mind is not wanderlusting while you're
No,
on
you,
this
you can't,
motorcycle.
you can't, yeah, your mind does not wander at all when you're on a motorcycle, and you
it's a
can't
moment to
think
reflect.
about that stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, you can't obsess about that stuff or a mistake you made.
Right?
You know, so,
Right.
it's a mistake is devastating for somebody else.
So
You
do your
know,
babies, your
it's-
little fur babies, come into your art studio with you?
No, No.
Let's talk about those little
spawn
stickers.
of Satan. No, she does not.
If you go to Abby's Instagram or Facebook page, Abby Art
Right.
Fire, Abby Smith, you'll see a lot of pictures of her little fur babies. What are they? Maltese, Maltipoos?
No, I have a Bichon
Bichon
and a Havanese.
and a Havanese.
Yeah, and she's a spawn of Satan is a Havanese, and she's 3. She just turned 3.
So she's the baby.
Yeah,
she's
she
spoiled
just turned
brat.
3. She is. She's a spoiled brat.
So you do art.
Yes.
You have doggies.
Mhm.
You ride motorcycles. You're a
Mhm.
bad bitch. Let's just put it that way. You also have a very good friend that you guys do some satire comedy, and it makes me fucking laugh every time I watch it.
Louise.
So tell the ladies that are watching, to watch that friendship. Heather and I are really good friends, and I know what it's like to have a connection with another woman
Mhm.
on a level that you guys think you're the funniest fucking people on earth. Like you put on
nobody
your own
else
show.
did, but
But your stuff is
We're
funny.
amazing.
Tell us about Thelma and Louise.
Marsha.
Marsha.
I'm
Excuse me,
Marsha and Louise. Wow, what can I say about Marsha and Louise? We just started recording what we do and talk about. I mean, she's my friend Nikki Nelson. She was a singer in a rock band.
okay.
You know, so she's a performer from way back, and we just love to get together and just go back and forth with our stuff. And we thought we were hilariously funny.
Oh, I think
And
you're
we
hilarious, funny.
thought, well, do other people think we're funny? So we would put this stuff, you know, out there on Facebook, and we get like a like or whatever, and it's like, well, apparently they don't think we're as funny as we think we are.
That has to do with algorithms and all
right.
the things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that aren't seeing that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the beaver. That's fucking funny.
Oh, the beaver.
The beaver references in your
Is
life.
it weird that every time I see a beaver, I think about
The
you?
same.
I'm like,
You know, everybody does.
I can't go to a Buc-ee's without thinking of dog.
Right. Well, it was my dog toys. I got my dog toys beavers, and you know, it started out with somebody asking me, well, what's Abby doing? And I said, well, she's over here playing with her beaver. And then she's like starting to rip it up now. I went on and on and on, and didn't really at the time realize what I was saying. And so that's how that all started. It was a joke about beavers, and then we went on and on about beavers. And so now everybody, all my friends have beavers. I've given my friends beavers, a lot of them.
Yeah, every
They give
time I
me
see a beaver,
beavers.
I'm like, same.
Yeah.
If I sent you
It'd be
everything
a
I saw,
beaver.
you'd be like, it'd be constant. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there's Abby. I'm like,
And it's a beaver.
oh, it's always a beaver.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I have one more motorcycling question.
Yes.
What's the longest trip you've taken on a motorcycle, and then that you've taken independently? Like, do you ever ride independently? Like, okay, I don't want to ride with the guys.
Packing my shit up and I'm going.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay, I'll tell you that the longest I don't have a trip that I've actually ridden the motorcycle on, only because they're customs and I can't carry shit.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense.
True.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So it's always, trailer mount and back. Yeah. So I and that's something that, I may or may not do on that low rider, although I don't have bags on it.
Okay.
But
That's easy.
but I'm not. That's not the kind of rider I am. I'm your, Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. Go on trips such as Daytona.
Okay, yep.
Kind of rider. But we do ride every single weekend.
I love that.
In the summer, every
That's
single
amazing.
weekend.
Yeah, you have
Saturday
a
and
good
Sunday.
community around you.
Yeah.
You have a great motorcycle community around you.
Yeah, we don't have maybe the months of the year that you guys can ride.
Right.
But we ride from April to October. You know, sometimes
That's pretty good.
October.
That's
good.
And
especially
it's,
in
and
our
it's
normal.
every weekend, and you know, during the week too. You know, we at least we go out once during the week too. So it's a lot of riding, not just a long trip. So
No, I think that's
Yeah.
great. Do you have a favorite place to ride to?
oh, I'd get too many people in trouble for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a couple of favorite places, but yeah.
All right, we'll leave that one off.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Well, I can tell you that every time I get to spend with you is great, and like,
Oh, thank you.
thank you for being willing to sit down with us today
Yeah.
and share all the things about you and the motorcycle life and all those things. Like, it's
Oh my God, I was so honored that you asked me.
girl, why wouldn't we ask you?
I know. Well, you're such an interesting person in general.
Mhm.
Well,
just
thank
as-
you.
as
Thank
as a
you.
human.
Thank you.
But then the fact that you're a motorcyclist as well just makes it even cooler. And like she said earlier, we want to inspire other women or other people in general.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a woman, anybody.
Mhm.
To if it's something that they're even thinking about, explore the options and
Mhm.
just try. Just try. You don't have to be afraid. Even if you're a passenger, being on two wheels, even as a passenger,
Mhm.
is freeing as well. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. It is freeing. But you know, back to me, you really have to trust the person that you're
Oh,
riding with.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like a Donnie.
Yep.
Donnie. Every minute I would
Yep.
trust him, but
Absolutely.
you know, some of the other guys I dated. No,
not
not so much.
So when we finally release this, obviously it's going to be past Winter Nationals
Yeah.
time
Mhm.
because we're going live. When does the Winter Nationals happen typically? Is it like the same time of like the same week every
Is it
year?
like the third weekend of every March.
Well, it's near
roughly?
the third weekend of March. It's near the end of March.
And
Sometimes in the last. two
Always
weeks of
in
March.
St. Paul, always at the River
Always,
Center.
yeah.
Excellent.
It is, and it's huge.
It is.
It's a
huge.
huge show.
So tell the people that are watching kind of what the show setup is. I know that there's a swap meet.
Yeah, there's a big swap meet, and that's a big draw. A lot of the guys come for the swap meet because it's just filled with all kinds of treasures.
I know John
and
will
if
be
you go
at the
treasure
door
hunting
as soon as it opens.
Oh yeah, no, big boxes.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm actually worried that Chris is there now.
Right.
Doing the swap meet setting
Right.
up.
So there's a swap meet. There's multiple bike shows going on at the same time.
Yeah, lots of different motorcycles all over. You know, we have the vendors. You know, we have a happy hour party.
That's
at the
always
end.
fun.
I know the happy hour party is always fun.
I think for anybody who has experience with indoor motorcycle shows, if you want to get an understanding of how good Donnie Smith is, typically, you know, most indoor bike shows, 5 o'clock, the floor is dead. There's not a soul in there. At Donnie Smith, every year, without a doubt, they are kicking people out as they're closing the doors.
Yes, it's time to go, like a bar.
Back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
Like, get
Last
out.
call.
You can come out tomorrow. Like, I've never seen a show in all the years I've been doing this where an indoor show is like that.
And I'll tell you why it's like that. And the reason is that we are cooped up in the cooped up in Minnesota all winter long. And that's the place you can run into every one of your riding friends all at once, and they have a bar there, and it's a big party.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
but it's worth the trip. Like, it's worth coming from wherever. We call it the Midwest Motorcycle Extravaganza, and that, I think, is the perfect way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you like custom motorcycles,
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Smith Show.
Yeah,
I love that you're part of Donnie Smith.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, like I said earlier, you're his better half.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
No, I mean that. I don't think he would probably still do a lot of what he does without support from somebody like you.
Absolutely not.
Well, thank you.
What do you think?
I think it's been a great day.
I think that was like this. Just so you know, this is our first interview.
You're kidding.
No,
you
are
guys did
first.
great.
Thank you for being
Holy
Yes,
shit.
Thank you for being
Holy
our
shit.
guinea pig.
Thank you for being our guinea pig. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking time out of the weekend that's as busy as this is.
Oh my
for
God!
you
I'd
do
love
this
to.
with us.
No, yeah. This is a day that I don't have anything to do till tonight, so no problem
Hallelujah.
at all. No problem.
We should probably let her go so she can refill.
Yeah,
that
so
glass.
let's just recap though.
Yes.
Tell everybody your Instagram page, both your art and
where they can follow you specifically. Screw Donnie.
Screw Donnie.
Yes.
This is about you.
later.
Screw Donnie.
Later. Abby Art Fire is my Instagram page, and Abby Smith is my Facebook page.
Check out her art.
So give her a follow.
Yeah, and connected to Abby Smith is Abby Art Fire 2, which is a page. What is that? What's the difference between a page and a whatever?
I
don't give a shit. That's
I
what we
don't
call
know.
this a podcast schmodcast.
Yeah, that's why
We'll post links to it.
that's why I'm not doing Etsy.
Right?
So if I do this right and edit, there will be a link right here or right there somewhere.
Right, somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Vicinity.
Right.
But yeah, so Abby Art Fire Shoes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
for your time.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here. It really was. Thank you.
Girl, the honor's ours.
Yay, we did. We go really great now.
We're
Yes.
really great now. Cheers.
Right